Okay, so this question we are trying to figure out whether there is a difference in the mean scores between the 2 days. Alright, so what we need to notice here that the golfer, they are the same. So it's the same golfer who get the score 68 on Tuesday and get the score 67 on Friday. So this is the case of dependent subject, right? And the scores are really dependent from each other because we did not select a different set, and we different set of scores basically, right? Okay, so let's move to the whiteboard. First of all, what we need here is we need to identify our claim. All right, and the claim is this one. We want to figure out whether there is a difference in the mean scores between the 2 days. And they tell you here we're going to use the mu d is the mean, right, on Thursday minus the mean on Friday. So what they are saying is that the mu d is going to be the mean on Tuesday minus the mean on Friday, sorry. All right, and you're given the alpha. All right, so the claim, if there is a difference, all right, so the claim here, if there is a difference, this means mu on Tuesday different than the mean on Friday, all right, and this is equivalent that saying the mean mu d, which is equal to Tuesday minus the mean on Friday, that's different than 0. All right, so they are equivalent statements. So if in order to make it simpler, we're going to do the claim here is mu d different than 0, and because there is a different sign here, this will be h1. Now the alternative hypothesis, which is h0, it would be the opposite, or the complementary statement, which is mu d equals to 0, and this is going to be not the claim. Now, having said that, we want to graph it and figure out whether it's one tail or two tail. Obviously, I always graph the h1. All right, so if I do that, this is going to be my chart. This is going to be the mu d here equals to 0, and the alpha is going to be separated in two, split in two parts. This will be the alpha over 2, which is going to be 0.1 divided by 2, and this is same, it's going to be alpha over 2, and it's going to be 0.05. all right, okay, so obviously it's two-tailed, right? Okay, so let's start the question here. That's the first question. The h0 is going to be mu d equals to 0. This is not the claim. And h1 is going to be mu d different than 0, and this will be the claim. And as we said earlier, it's two-tailed, right? Check the answer. All right, great. Now we are trying to figure out what is the critical value. So in order to figure out the critical value, we need to figure out what kind of test we are using, and the left tail basically, right? So let's go back here. So we have already the left tail, which is equal to 0.05, which is this area. The critical value, there are two critical values, so we have this number here and this number here. Now the question is what kind of data, what kind of table we're going to be using, and obviously here we are using a sample, right? And we are giving a sample set of 12 numbers, which is less than 30. right? Only the fact that we are using a set of less than 30 allows us to use the t table. And notice here as well, we are not giving the sigma, which is the population standard deviation, so it's unknown for us. All right, so then definitely n is less than 30, we're gonna be using the t table. All right, so once we figure out the t table, this will be the t critical, and this will be another t critical, and there are gonna be two of them. All right, so how can we do this? We have n equals to 12. It means the degree of freedom is 11. So double check it. Yes, 12. So we have degree of freedom is 11. The area on the left side of this one, all right, we know it is 0.05. That's what we need to plug into the calculator. So you're gonna go to second and vars. That's gonna give you distribution. Once you enter to distribution table, you're gonna select number 4, sorry. You can select number 4, which is inverse t, enter. So you're gonna ask you about the area, which is 0.05, and you're gonna ask you about degree of freedom, which is 11, and that's basically it, right? So you're gonna paste it, enter, and the number that you get there is, which is the left side one, right, minus 1.7958, so it's gonna be 96, and this is gonna be 1.796. they are always symmetrical. Okay, that's it. So let's put them in. Okay, there are two of them. One of them is negative 1.796, and the other one, okay, I didn't put the decimal point, and the other one 1.796. check. Okay, that's correct. Now we are trying to compute the t-test. All right, and this could be really hectic if you wanna do it by hand. Let me remind you, this is your formula from your book, and this is section 9.3, right? Now we are using the TI-84, which is gonna make our job way easier. All right, and the way to do it is I need to go to the table and fill up all the data in the table. So let's switch to this one, go to the table, and what I'm going to do, I'm going to start with stat. I'm going to edit, and at first I'm going to enter the, okay, you see I have here L2, I don't know why. Yeah, all right, regardless, I notice I have here L2, I don't have L1, but it doesn't matter really. As long as I know I'm working in L2, it's fine. So it seems like my calculator has been modified a little bit, right? Now, what I'm going to do, I'm going to enter the data for Tuesday here in L2, all right? So I'm going to put 68 and so forth. So let me pause the video and enter the data, right? Okay, so I am done inserting the data in the first column, so I'm gonna go with the second column. So the second column is gonna contain 67 here, and then 74, and so forth, right? So I'm gonna pause the video again and insert all the numbers, right? Alright, so I'm done with the second one. So right now for this, we need to go to the third column, whatever it is. It's called L4 for me right now, and I'm gonna go up, and I need to make this one equals Tuesday minus Friday, right? So you're gonna be the data on Tuesday, which is L2, so I'm gonna go with the second and 2, that's L2, minus the Friday data, which is, for me, is L3 here, so I'm gonna go with second and 3, that's gonna type L3. And as soon as I insert it here, you can see this is making the difference between the two numbers. All right, Okay, so once I'm done with this, I'm gonna start my test. So I'm gonna go back to stat. I'm gonna go to testing, tests, and remember I'm using the t-test, right? And I am not, because the numbers are dependent, I am not using the two sample t-test. I'm gonna use only one sample t-test because the variables are dependent. So I'm gonna go to number 2, which is the t-test, enter, and I'm gonna fill up my data. I'm not going to statistic. I have the data in a table, so I'm gonna put into the mu0. It has to be 0. So let me go back to the other view. So the mu d, which is that's mu0 for you, is mu d is the mean, and 0 is the mu0. So you have to put 0 in there. And then you're gonna go to the list. List is not in L1. List is in L4. All right, so for me, it's the last column only who counts. All right, so I'm gonna go to second and number 4. That's you're gonna type L4. The frequency is gonna be 1. Now I'm gonna shoot the hypothesis testing, and this is the claim H1. All right, so always is H1 there. So the mean, right? So did you see the mean here? That the first one is different than mu0. Mu0 is 0. So I'm going to keep it in there, and I'm done. I'm going to enter this, calculate. And what I need from here, I need the t value. So you have a lot of information. So for this question, we need only the t-test. So the t-test is equal to minus 2.7744, which is 4, right? 3 decimal places. Now, let's stop here. Let's plug it in, and then we continue whether we accept or reject, right? So going to the question, this is going to be minus 2.774. All right. And they want 3 decimal places, so let's check it. Okay, great. That's correct. Now we're going to make a decision whether we accept or reject, and there is enough evidence or not, right? So again, let me remind you about the alpha. Every time I have an alpha, I have the separation between the reject and the accept zone. So the side from the alpha is the reject A0. Similarly, from this side, I'm going to reject A0. And if I am in between for the two tails, this is do not reject. Okay, so in other words, if I am in between here, I am not rejecting. If I am on the tails here, I'll be rejecting. All right, so looking at your t-test and plotting it on your graph, so minus 2.77, this is minus 1.79, so definitely gonna be somewhere here. So this is the t-test, and obviously is within the rejection zone. So you're gonna reject H0. If you do reject the hypothesis, then you have enough evidence to reject it. All right, and as the fact of rejecting H0 is at the same time, if you do reject H0, you're supporting H1, so you have enough evidence to support H1. Okay. All right, so here we're gonna do reject, check, and there is or there is not, there is a sufficient evidence to support the claim, and check. Okay, that's all. I hope this will help, guys, right?